French brother election again because he didn't get it, or he wasn't trying to get it. Now, the day one, I said, we're going to be civilized on day one, but on day two, it's on. If any more of this hang him stuff comes up, because you do not hang human beings. You especially do not do it in the context of a country where lynching was as common as Freiburg, frankly. So I share the story with you because the leadership, I knew myself. There was a moment in the middle of the thing where I left the room. I went, they said, looked in the mirror and said, sister girl, you one of the baddest people, you know. You run a college, you do all kinds of stuff. Do not let these crazy folks get to you. Count to 10, 15, 20, count to 100 if you need to. And one of the sisters outside was like, Julianne, come back. I'm thinking, when I get ready. Now that's called, don't ever let yourself get too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. That's called halt. Too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Because we do mistakes. So I like to think that I handled the situation well. You have to ask them what they thought. One of the white guys didn't think I handled it well. He thought I never should have said a word. He brought it to me. We had a moment of sharing. And he said, I really think you could have done that. So I appreciate that. I think you could have done that. And that was the end. That was the end of that one. But that's that story. We're talking about those issues that affect your generation, and this is kind of an interesting conversation to have because I think you all are better equipped to tell me what your generation is concerned about than I am, except for the fact that I am the president of a college, it's historically black college, women's college. We're one of 2 HBCUs that focus on women, one of 105 HBCUs in the United States. We're private, not public. I have about 678 students. We were founded in the unpaved basement of United Methodist Church in 1873, and we became all female in 1926. Because our college is so small, we're a small liberal arts college, I have the opportunity to talk to students in a way that many college presidents do not. I have an open door policy, which means they come into my office whenever, and if I'm available, I talk to them. If I'm busy, I close my door, or I would say to them, I've got 5 minutes for you. But I think that I get a unique window on what is on the minds and hearts of some of these women. And so some of that I just kind of want to share today. What's the unfinished business piece? The Unfinished Business is a book I wrote some years ago, and a lot of folks like that title. I wrote a book with a Gen X white Republican, Deborah Perry. It was called Unfinished Business, a Democrat and a Republican take on the most important issues women face. Writing that book was probably one of the most challenging and frustrating experiences of my life, but it also left me with a lifelong friend. We started out as partners. We met over impeachment in 1998. We were, the chat shows liked the energy we had between the two of us, and so they booked us together again and again and again. And we were just like sick of each other. I mean, because we knew we weren't going to agree, we knew we were going to talk over each other. We knew it was going to be challenging. So that O'Brien once turned our mics off because we just wouldn't stop talking, so she just cut the mics and said, well, when these ladies calm down, we'll get back to the conversation. But in any case, it was a real exercise in stretch. And it got so bad between us once that someone said, how are you writing the book? That's on separate continents. I irritated her, so she went to Italy for 3 weeks to finish some of her parts of the book, and then she sent me email, and I'm like, I refuse to correspond intercontinentally by email. If you want to talk to me, call me. Well, I knew she didn't have any money to call, so my way of saying, just get your pages in, woman, and let's get it on with this book. But the book actually turned out to be a good book, and we ended up on a lecture circuit together, and then we ended up just becoming hosts. We ended up doing a TV show together, and we ended up with me doing a baby shower for her house. She now lives in California. Her company is called Betty Confidential. You may have seen that website. It's a really cool women's website, Betty Confidential. Check it out. Anyway, what are the top issues that I think your generation is doing? That I think. Now, you all will correct me in the Q&A period, I hope. I think that before numbering anything, this generation, more than any other, has to deal with the whole issue of the pace of change. Change comes at you more rapidly than it's come at my generation or any other. So there are no, how many seniors in the house? How many are graduating seniors? Are you scared? A lot of seniors are scared because the things that you think, what you're learning in the communications of business, you're learning critical thinking skills. The business world changes daily because assumptions or conclusions you would have made about the business world even a year ago are not the case now. General Motors stock used to be a stock that's considered a staple stock in a portfolio. Less than 5 years ago, General Motors stock was selling at $35 a share. Now General Motors stock is at, like, I didn't check today, but probably somewhere around $3. If that, because with Wagner having left today, maybe $2. So things that we thought were stable, whoever thought that we would, our auto industry would stay afloat by merging with French or German or other companies. The rules are changing. One of the companies that I've had a long relationship with just through personal friends, but we in the African American community could always count on them, was Anheuser-Busch. Anheuser-Busch, you look at the Essence Music Festival, at the Congressional Black Caucus, at anything that has black folks, as well as Latino, they've had a very strong multicultural footprint. Now they've got this, I think it's a German company called somebody, IT Beverages, that bought them, that just purchased them. Now this beverage company has a very different culture than Anheuser used to. So the dinners that they used to sponsor aren't being sponsored anymore, or they're cutting back. The scholarship funds that they used to sponsor, they're cutting back. The CEO of the company flies coach on commercial aircraft. How many CEOs do you know who fly coach on commercial aircraft? Back in the good old days, Anheuser had private planes, and the aspiration of many of us was, when do I get to ride on the private plane? Well, never, as it turns out. So the pace of change and the uncertainty is something that I think is a skill that your generation will have to learn. But what I'm excited about is that the generation seems to be learning it very quickly. You take almost nothing for granted. Whereas my generation and the generation before expected, graduate, get a job, keep a job for a while, and maybe you get another one, but that would be about it. You really wouldn't have. Now you have 8 to 12 jobs, and they will have different skill sets. So what you're learning now in college is critical thinking. You're not necessarily learning a skill set like accounting, because the accounting rules will change. People used to go into math classes with a slide rule. Who's seen a slide rule? Now you can do it all on the computer. So the overarching everything that your generation deals with, I think, is this whole issue of uncertainty and change. Then if we list the 10 issues, the first is the economy. Of course, this economy is yielding results that are frightening, not only in terms of jobs, but also in terms of issues of housing and everything else. Owning a home used to be the American dream. Is it anymore? Question mark. Now many people are wondering whether they should risk it. All of the economic uncertainty is something that people need to take into consideration. The economy is a huge issue. President Obama has just gone over to, he'll go tomorrow actually. He starts in London, he ends up then he goes to Germany, Turkey, where he's going to be talking about our country vis-a-vis others. But the G20, when they meet on Thursday, are likely to give him a very hard time. The entire world is having an economic crisis. The GDP, the world GDP is projected to go down by 2% this year. The world GDP, everyone. While we know that countries like China's GDP is going to go up by 6.4, many of the developing countries will have increases just because they came from, the base is so low. But the world, because the United States, London, Britain, about half a dozen countries that are the tail that wags the dog are seeing downturns. That downturn affects everyone more. So the economy is one of the top issues. What I found with young people that is a second issue for many of you is the environment. Young people seem to care more about the environment, the greening, all of those things than my generation does. And it's important. Many of you understand this issue of scarcity. How many of you participated Saturday night at the Lights Out? It was National Lights Out Day 3rd. And that's good. Should have been more. But the whole issue of how we abuse our environment is something that I think young people are paying more attention to than others are. And that's important. The third issue, I think, is peace and global stability. There are not as many peace activists as there used to be, but there are peace activists out there who are passionate about our presence in the war, Iraq, why we're in Iraq, why we're in Afghanistan, should we be in Iran, what's justice in Israel and Palestine. Those are issues that I think affect the way our world evolves and that many young people have carved out space in. The fourth issue, which is often my number one issue, is the issue of economic justice. Not the economy, but economic justice, and that speaks to the issue of race, gender, and class. Now, as you can see, some of these things look like 5 issues, but I'm trying to deal with big picture. So, economic justice piece is a huge piece. We know that this economy, as messed up as it is, as fractured as it is generating different results for different people. 8.1% unemployment rate for everyone translates into nearly 15% for African Americans. That 8.1%, when you add on the people who stop looking for work and the people who have part-time jobs, full-time jobs, 8.1 for everyone translates to about 15% for everyone. So what does it translate into for African Americans? 24.4%. That's a depressive level unemployed. Latinos rate is just